Welcome to another episode of All About Comics. Got a friend Josh, got a newcomer here. We got my friend Charlie, our friend Charlie here as well. We're going to do a superhuman draft. What is that? We'll break it down in a second. All right, we here. First of all, I want to thank Josh, Charlie. Good to have you on. Thank you as always. Josh, you know it's a pleasure as usual, but we have to introduce, I've said his name twice now, Mr. Charlie Cummings, a mutual friend of both Josh and myself for a number of years, but the first time you'll be hearing his lovely voice here on the All About Comics show. So, want to introduce you, Charlie, but also with an icebreaker question that we like to throw out one of these in every show randomly. But for you, Charlie, it's your first time. Who is your favorite superhero and why?
Well, you put me in an interesting spot right off the jump here, and I had to get a little creative with it, which I will spoil you, will be a theme of our draft. The loopholes will be exploited, and I'm gonna take kind of a weird angle here, and I'm gonna go with Magneto because there are a lot of storylines where he is an extremely compelling hero. Obviously, most people rightfully know him as a villain, but I just love like the alternate, the apocalypse, Age of Apocalypse storyline in particular, where Charles Xavier is dead, Magneto sort of inherits the crown. Um, I mean, it goes without saying, Master of Magnetism, awesome. Color scheme goes crazy. I'm very partial to purple. Purple and red is just it's perfect. But I don't know, just the general storyline of like putting aside the rivalries, um, utilizing both his past as a villain, his past in terms of his origin to sort of inform his decision making as like a hero and a leader. I just love all of it. Like not only is he cool as hell, but like when he makes the good guy turn, he becomes a lot more compelling to me. So yeah, that's my sleeper hero pick is the villain turned hero.
I like it. I didn't see it coming, like you said, a loophole there that worked. It does make sense. It is comic accurate. Josh, real quick, your thoughts on Magneto as a hero for Charlie's pick?
Oh, I agree. Charlie knows I love the Age of Apocalypse as well. In fact, Charlie borrowed my Age of Apocalypse trade paperbacks. So yeah, I thought that was a great stretch. I also think anytime like Magneto was headmaster of the school for a while for the New Mutants. We've seen him take on not just heroic aspects, but like leadership aspects when they were doing Utopia and on Krakoa. And he also was key in Araco and, like mutants seeding Mars and turning Mars into a habitable planet and establishing like a mutant colony basically on there. So yeah, he's had plenty of opportunities to also play hero as opposed to the villain that most people know him as. Also, I don't know if I would say Magneto was right, but hashtag Magneto wasn't wrong.
Okay, all right, I can go with
he's
that.
a, he's a he's a very like, you know what, let's hear him out villain as opposed to it's not like a Thanos like, well, he's gonna kill half the universe, like, nah,
Yeah.
whatever. But it's like, hey, there's maybe some points here, like let's, he's got a cool helmet, maybe let's listen to what he has to say.
Yeah, there are points with Magneto where you're just like, let him cook.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. There you go.
Also, he easily had the best monologue in all of X-Men 97 so far. Like,
he kills it every flipping time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The like, don't make me revert to my like baser
Oh, don't
instincts.
I forgot what he said.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
don't
yeah.
prove. I forgot, but it was so good. Exactly.
Yes, yeah.
You remember that moment. No, for sure. All right, well, we're gonna go right into the gist of this show today, which is the superhuman draft. I want to say superhero because we have a few twists in this one. But I'm actually gonna turn it over to my friend Josh and Charlie as well, because they came up with the rules of engagement for this exercise, which should be real fun. And lest I, stumble over a detail or two, we're gonna put in their sure hand. So Josh, take it away.
Yeah, so the three of us first met each other through basketball. So all of us have a lot of experience doing fantasy drafts and also like all-time fantasy drafts.
Mhm.
And so Corbin mentioned this as a possible topic, kind of build your super team in a fantasy draft approach. And so I was like, that sounds great. Let's get Charlie on. And so we're doing building our teams of 7. Justice League of America was the big 7. A lot of like Avengers and X-Men teams in history have also been about 7 players. Well, not players, characters. And so we're doing a snake draft, which means the third pick, the person who has the third pick then gets the 4th pick, and things like reverse each round so that whoever is third in order doesn't get too screwed over. In fact, they probably have an advantage in the first couple of rounds with the snake draft stuff. And then Charlie came up with 2 additional kind of restrictions to force us to be a little more creative in our approaches.
So I think this is tough when there's 3 of us because, we only have a limited pool. We're only going to have 21 picks. Like, we're talking about a lot of the best here. And you have to think about the scales of the power coming into play. But also the idea of building a team itself, because, we already talked about like a villain question mark guy in Magneto. So all that to say, we are capping it at 1 immortal / unkillable character. So, on the immortal side, it's like, whatever god you have, like someone who is literally immortal in all ways, or someone who is technically killable, but like, functionally unkillable. Like, if you were just like, oh, I'm going to build my whole team out of like Deadpool and Wolverine and Superman, it'd be like, all right, like, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's well, there may be some debates about someone we deem as unkillable. We may have to get into that. We'll see. And the other rule is we are going for 1 villain. As Josh astutely pointed out, 2 villains on the same team is probably not a good team building philosophy. So I think you'd have some ego troubles in the locker room. Uh, so those are the only 2 parameters we're operating within: maximum 1 immortal, maximum 1 villain.
I like it. And then we'll go back to Josh. Do you want to break down the order now that we have all that decided?
So we did a random generator. And so Charlie has the first pick. I have the second pick. And then Corbin starts the snake reverse with 3 and 4th pick. And then it processes backwards. So then it'd be me at 5, Charlie at 6. And it continues in that like reversing snake order for the rest of the draft until we're through 21 picks.
This should be fun. I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm ready to rock, though. We don't got the music, which is fine. It's a comic show. We don't need NBA draft music here for this. So, Charlie, you are the guest. You have the first overall pick. My friend, who'd you select?
So, with the idea that you not only need some good powers here, but you need a leader. You need someone who is going to set the tone. You need someone who has experience in leadership, first of all. I was really in between 2 guys here because I'm thinking, like, I want the powers, I want the leader. I was between Superman and Professor X. I'm like, you got the leader of the Justice League, you got the leader of the X-Men. I don't think you could ask for two better teams. Um, all due respect to the Avengers. Not really much of a team in many respects. There's a lot of different agendas going on there. I question the leadership that's going on, and Captain America kind of being the leader. The shield throwing does not move me. So, yeah, he's kind of patriotism merchant.
That's
but
true. Yeah.
I'm going with Professor X here. I need a guy who not only sets that tone with the leadership, but the telekinesis, like one of one, the greatest at it, the undisputed greatest. Like, it's a very common power, and I'll pit him against any other telepath. So I'm going Professor X 1-1.
Wow, I like it. Well done. Well done. Setting the stage for how this is already going to go. I see. Okay, Professor X is off the board. Josh, you have the second overall pick. Where are you going?
Well, as you guys know me, I'm very focused on making sure teams have the proper collection of roles, not necessarily trying to stack a team with quote unquote talent, but like make sure every aspect of the team is taken care of. So with my first pick at pick number 2, I'm going to take a real powerhouse who also technically qualifies for my villain. And he's had a nice little resurgence this past week. We're talking Hal Jordan, the greatest Green Lantern. And yes, he was a villain. Hal Jordan, he basically killed Kilowog and Sinestro, drained the central power battery that basically took away all the rings power for all the other Green Lanterns. So any of them that were in space at the time, they died. And on top of it, he then kind of tried to reshape reality, which was the 0 hour event for DC. So yeah, Hal's been a villain, but he's also been one of the greatest heroes we've seen. And I wanted a powerhouse who had very versatile power, and a Green Lantern, especially one who has an iron will and a creative flair, can do a wide variety of things. So Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, is the number 2 pick.
There you go. So I guess if you're doing the villain, I guess you're going more parallax, right? You're kind of swinging both
I'm
ways.
just saying he qualifies for both.
I'm not arguing it.
Anytime, for instance, Jean Grey is another candidate who I think 1000% qualifies as a villain, as she committed a planetary genocide as the Phoenix Force. So
that's fair. You're right. I mean, there you go. Who's going to quibble on that? I mean, not me. I asked the question, but I'm going to stop. All right. I have
back-to-back picks, Corbin.
Back-to-back picks. This feels so basic for me. I'm almost worried it's not the right decision, but I've already wrote in my doc. So we're taking the world's finest team. I'm taking Batman. I'm taking Superman. If they're off the board.
Fair enough.
I need my tactical
I'm guessing
genius.
Batman goes first.
He does. It does matter. Okay. Order does matter. I have my tactical genius. I have Batman in that. We already know. Give him some prep time. It's maybe been overplayed a little bit, a little OP, but give him prep time and he can kind of figure out anything, that's been actually used almost to his, what is it? I would say almost to his detriment in terms of some storylines, such as in the Justice League under the Tower of Babel, where, his plans and fail-safes for every member of the Justice League was turned against them because he also hadn't told them that he had those in the first place. So, there's that, but obviously he has the combat skills. He knows how to operate under seemingly any situation. Superman, Charlie already touched on him before. I need a powerhouse. What's better than one of the strongest characters and from a bravery leadership standpoint, he doesn't fall too far from that either. He can be the yin to Batman's yang. They have worked together on multiple occasions, so it's not a whole lot of friction there, and you're getting two at the top of their respective games. So Batman, Superman off the board, and we throw it back to Charlie.
To me.
Oh, to Josh. Oh, we're going. I forgot. See, that's what I'm saying. We're going back. Josh.
Well,
Yep.
Before we get Josh's pick, I just want to throw out there: are you concerned of any Dark Knight Returns, type beefs that may occur here? I do think it was wise to take Batman first. He may have taken it as a slight if you had taken him second. But there's an established history of beef there.
There is. I think the balance I want to use is less Zack Snyder Batman v Superman, where Martha was the saving grace, and more the DC animated universe Batman Superman Adventures, specifically that movie where it did show that there was some friction there. They both were vying for Lois Lane's affections. They both, Superman used his see-through vision to see who Batman was immediately, and then Batman basically stalked Superman home and found out and then gave him a thumbs up, like, now we're even. So like you did have the tit for tat, but they were able to work together to put down the combined force of Lex Luthor and the Joker, right? And even though they ended on like a truce of like, we're not best buds, but we can work together when the fate is that big of the world of whatever. So I think I'm going that route more. Even Zack Snyder's Batman Superman showed they can work together, but that was way more detrimental, to both of them and a whole lot of innocent bystanders. So yeah, a little bit of concern, Charlie, but at the end of the day, neither of them are villains. So I know they will work together for the greater good one way or the other.
I got to add, canonically, they both consider each other one of their best friends.
There you go.
Like there is friction, and they have come to blows several times, but canonically, they both consider each other one of their very best friends. So
that works.
So Charlie got his leader right off the bat. Corbin got his pair of leaders right off the bat. And nicely, you guys left the best leader in all of comic books there for me to snatch up. Corbin's looking funny, but this is canonical in DC. The two guys you just selected also think he's the best possible leader. We're talking Nightwing.
Yeah.
It's happened multiple times canonically in DC Comics, where when there's some big event and everyone else is kind of butting heads, everyone either turns to Nightwing or Nightwing says, like, taps the mic, guys, this is what we're doing. Recently, when the Justice League was kind of taking a break from being the world defending team, the big three, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, all went directly to Dick Grayson, Nightwing, to make sure that he was in charge of the world's protection. So I gotta take Nightwing as my leader to join Hal Jordan on my team.
I can't argue with that. That's solid. Nightwing's a great fighter. He's even keeled, good balance. Like you said, the leadership abilities are there. Definitely not the most powerful, but he's lovable. There you go. Exactly. Even his exes. Anyways,
yep.
Charlie, any thoughts before we go to you?
I dig it. I knew he would be there for Josh, and that was the lock. Well, he's got a good leadership. I think that's a good counterbalance to Hal as well. Like, more in the practical realm than Hal just being more or less a warlock. This is tough with Professor X because I do want to consider. I'm trying to think like who else is ostensibly in a leadership role but would respect him as the number one. And I feel like there will be plenty of X-Men for the choosing, which are always my favorites. I'm also saying, especially with, the hero to villain to hero arc, I like this guy a lot here. If I couldn't get Superman around on the turn, and if he wasn't going to come back to me, then I will take one of the various Superman spinoffs that exist in other comics. I'm going to take Omni-Man from Invincible.
Wow.
He is functionally the same, but he does have the added, like, there's the interstellar travel. He does not have X-ray vision, but strong as all hell, can only really be beat up by people of his own species, who he is on relatively good terms with, and I'm not too concerned about any other Viltrumites coming into the picture here. He's got all the powers you'd want. I think he would respect Professor X as a leader. So, yeah, I think I have to go with him as the second pick. Get my Clark Kent clone in the building. I want to throw something out here. Can I? Now we've established Magneto is my GOAT.
Mhm.
Do we think he falls under the category of villain for this exercise?
Same thing with Hal. He's had enough experiences which you could count as villainy that I think he would qualify.
Okay.
I wouldn't argue it too much.
This one's tough because I
wouldn't argue at all.
within the X-Men universe, like, I think there's a pretty good argument that like Apocalypse is like the strongest villain out there. But I think I gotta pair Charles and Eric together. I mean, that's just, there's established chemistry.
Our first couple.
Yeah, they know our first. Yeah, exactly. They know each other's strengths. They know each other's weaknesses. There's an established hierarchy too that Professor X is the leader. So I'm rolling with Eric.
All right.
That's pretty sweet.
That is pretty sweet.
All right. So
Stevie,
then
I like it. Back to you.
Yes.
Yes, I got the hang of it now.
That was Magneto. All right.
Oh,
so,
also, sorry, I do
ahead.
have to note that Omni-Man is pretty much immortal. So, like,
yes, yeah.
I think he counts. So that's
Yes,
my
yeah.
That's your
my
immortal
maximums are tapped out there.
Yep.
Already set. Marked as such.
All right. So I've got my powerhouse. I've got my leader. Now I need a second powerhouse who also fills some specific roles. I'm going with John Johns, the Martian Manhunter. Guy has super strength, can fly. He basically can do a lot of the stuff Vision can do. He can make himself somewhat intangible, or make himself more solid. He can, because he's a shapeshifter, he can turn his appendages into weapons. He also is the most powerful telepath in DC. And one key aspect for Martian Manhunter and the Justice League is he was the one who would generally have their communication connected telepathically, so that everyone was always on the same page. He also has enhanced Martian senses and stuff. His only real weakness is fire. But like, I have Hal Jordan who can make a giant green fire extinguisher at any moment. So Martian Manhunter is my third pick.
I like it. Yeah, outside of fire, I think you're pretty set there. Yeah.
He was on my short list. I was I was hoping he would fly under the radar long enough.
So I'm gonna get my villain out the way. I'm unsure of how this will work, but he's been on the side of the Angels once or twice. canonically that I'm kind of concerned, but not really concerned. He's also the man of the year for Marvel, all culminating in December, of course. That indeed is Doctor Doom. Swooping him off the board, you have the intellect that can't really be matched, but you have the magic to go along with it, and the technology, and he's a master planner. And again, when the stakes are that high, he can usually parse out the forest from the trees. Yes, he has his own angle, whether that's for his own land or whatever the case may be, but he can kind of make it work enough that I'm not quite concerned. Where if I went with someone like, and this wasn't a guy I was going to take right now or at any point, let's say Darkseid, where his vendetta with Superman is such that it's like, no, we could both die. He's done that quite a few times, actually. We could both get it. I don't care. If you're going down, that works for me too. I don't really want that. I kind of want a team that's going to kind of work together more or less when the stakes are what they are. And this isn't a team who's going to hang out together, in the Avengers Tower and just, have Swarm or whatever. So this will work out just fine. My next pick. I'm just going to do it. I need a god. I don't know if he's immortal, but he has elemental control. He, with lightning, thunder, all of that. What he brings to the table. He's kind of a pseudo leader, more of a humorous perspective. He brings that as well. I'm taking Thor.
So, I will say this to your benefit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know as much because I'm not as much of an Avengers comics guy, so I don't know how they play this in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
Canonically, according to the Norse myths, all of the gods can be killed.
Yes.
Okay.
Superman might qualify for your immortal, though.
Doomsday would say something different. I'm kidding.
Yeah, but we all know he didn't actually die.
That's fair.
So
uh-huh.
I was thinking, like, my thought on that was kind of like, I don't know, like with Thor, like, yes, he has crazy powers. Yes, he's super hard to kill, but like, you can still kill the guy. Like if you can beat him, you can kill him. It's not like, oh, Superman you can kill, but you need one specific tiny little rock, or like Wolverine you could technically kill if you reduced him down to atoms or whatever. Like, I don't know how you guys feel, but I was like, as long as there's not any like special qualifier, like if I can, like shoot you and kill you, or like if you can be killed conventionally, I don't quite think it counts, if that makes sense.
That's fair.
I'm with it then. All right. So what we're basically saying is that they are immortal.
Well,
I mean, they aren't
Thor,
immortal in this
I would
case.
say Superman
Good
would probably count as your immortal, unless Charlie disagrees. But
I think he's fair.
Yeah.
As an like I had who did I have on my list? Captain Marvel on my list, and I took her off the short list too after I took Omni-Man, because I was like, I mean, she's
yeah,
can't beat her. Like, you gotta move her off the list. Superman's kind of the same. So I did preface it. I was like, there may be some that are up to interpretation, because it is a comic book. It's kind of unfair if they're just like, nope, under no circumstances can this person be killed.
Yeah, that's true. You do want to have that level. Okay, so no, I don't mind. It makes it easier for me not having to worry about trying to find an immortal to make my pick. I already have my villain. We'll take Superman. We'll make him the immortal. And that works for me.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Josh.
Now at my pick 11, again, I'm looking to fill roles within a team, not necessarily stack just the most power I possibly can. And I think every superhero team needs to have some element of magic. And I also think every superhero team is better when they have a teleporter. And so I found one who does both. I'm going to go with Ilyana Rasputin magic. who has the mutant power of teleportation, which she can teleport not just herself, but a large amount of people at the same time. So my team can get anywhere. Additionally, she can teleport not just like location, but time and other aspects. And on top of it, she has a lot of magic, where she learned black magic from her time in Limbo with the demon lord Belasco. She's also learned a lot of white magic, where she was taught by an alternate reality Storm. She has the Soul Sword, which can disrupt other magic and slay supernatural beings. So if she were to come up against any of your magic people, she can cut a bitch. So like, she fits multiple roles for me. On top of it, she's like a hardcore fighter and a badass. So magic is my next pick.
Okay, well done.
I dig it. I dig it a lot. So I was also kind of thinking along this line of you need someone magical. I wanted someone powerful. And as you can see, I had a bit of a stump speech prepared for why the Norse gods are not technically immortal.
You were already ready. Yes, indeed.
I was ready. And the reason I was ready is because I want to take Odin.
Ooh.
Not only do I think he is objectively more powerful than Thor, I think the reality warping, there's a lot of power he can tap into that other people can access. Like he's a real floor raiser, but like you also get the magical elements that I think are going to be really important for him. Correct me if I'm wrong. He can also like mess with time in the comics. I forget exactly what he gets up to in some of those, but I know he's got some time stuff that goes on,
like some hijinks or whatnot. I feel like there's like the Odin Force. Yeah, I think he can.
The Odin Force,
freeze time entirely. Yeah,
and he can also mess with weather. I like this.
Space warping.
Okay. Yes, I think this is a good versatile guy to have around. Yeah, I'm gonna lock in Odin right there, number 4. And speaking of versatility, because you need people to fill a role. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, so you're saying Odin is not immortal? That's the final answer. We agreed on that.
Yeah, because Thor is not
good.
Immortal.
No, it dawned on me late, and then I remembered that's what the stump speech is about. There we go. Well, listeners, we already explained the rules, but that's what it is. Okay, thank you, Charlie. Thanks, Josh.
So I had to roll with him there. I thought about other magical, but I wanted. Now I know Odin's like time manipulation is more like he can distort someone's perception of time, or he can do that, but you don't as much have like a time travel technical type aspect that he has. But I think the time travel is the best hack in the world, because you basically just get a mulligan out of it. Like everything goes to shit. You just back in time. But I wanted someone with a little bit more extra power. Shout out to our guys, Forge. Forge was definitely someone I thought about here for having the technical ability, but I'm going with our boy Nathan Summers. Somehow the first Summers/Gray off the board, which surprised me. But not only do you have the latent telekinesis that he gets from being the son of Scott and Jean, the guy is a hardened battle veteran. He's a good tactician, which I like. You know, you need someone to like draw up the X's and O's at the end of the day, which I definitely trust Cable to do. He's been down in the trenches. He's been in a lot of nasty situations, especially being like way off in the future, dealing with like essentially post-apocalyptic Earth. Um, and you get all the time travel elements out of it too. So I'm going with Cable here.
I like it. I
I
like it. Solid.
Yeah.
And you have another pick, my friend?
Yes, I do. I'm gonna triple up on powerhouses. I already have the greatest Green Lantern of all time, Martian Manhunter, and now I'm adding an Omega level mutant who could literally end all life on Earth. I'm talking Bobby Drake, Iceman. You laugh. You laugh.
No,
He's done it. He's done it.
I know.
He literally froze hell.
It's just
canonically.
No, I know. It's just
he almost started an ice age. Also canonically, once he had an apocalypse seed with him, he can like turn himself into complete ice, which means like he's not immortal, but if you like break him or burn him, it'll take him time, but he can get back. On top of it, like his power isn't just like I make things cold, it's like subatomic level of slowing the movement of atoms down. That's how cold happens. So there's a lot of things he can do. And I think he's just an amazing powerhouse who, again, Martian Manhunter's weakness is fire. Good luck taking out Martian Manhunter now. We have Iceman right there next to him. And then if we really need it, Hal Jordan's got the giant green fire extinguisher there too. So I think those three powerhouses have differing abilities, but I think combined they can equal up to a lot of the bigger name powerhouses as well.
Okay.
Now you got back-to-back picks, Corbin.
I do. The pressure is real. Did not see Iceman being, I mean, I knew he was a powerful mutant, but geez, that's a good one. All right. So we got Batman, we got Superman, we got Doctor Doom, we got Thor, we got a lot of power. This is what I'm looking for. You know, I love a good destructive team. Just kidding. Buying time because I don't know where I want to go with this pick, and I'm having a little bit of trouble thinking. Only one villain, so that kind of makes it a little bit better for me in that. I'm trying to think of who I would like that would fit well. You know what? No, I was gonna go Mr. Fantastic, but that would clash with Dr. Doom in ways that would be almost like I mentioned with Superman and Darkseid. I don't need that there.
That would be a civil war immediately. Your team would be
just too many philosophical differences, and not like Professor X and Magneto philosophical differences, just a little more destructive.
Reed and Dr. Doom aren't intimate with each other like
no
Charles have been.
No, exactly. No, you're right about that. I'm gonna go, I think, a high value pick for where he is right now. There's just pure combat, tenacity. He's not immortal, but he might as well be at times. I'm gonna go with Logan. I'm gonna take Wolverine here. I'm not too worried about Wolverine, especially depending on the iteration. Is more of a team. He's his own lone wolf for sure. Again, when he's going to be the new Avengers Armageddon book, he's going to be the new Avengers with Chip Zdarsky. So he can work with teams. He can. He's worked with X-Men. He can. He's definitely more of a lone wolf within that. Batman's not going to care as long as he does his assignment. That's just what it is. Superman's going to give less of a care than Batman would. Dr. Doom's not really going to mind. Thor has worked with Wolverine before. It's going to be fine there. Again, you get in the combat situation. You're getting a guy who regenerates, is a force almost unto himself from a physicality standpoint. In certain iterations is a leader of his own. Doesn't need to be a leader on this team, and that's great. He can play right into the role that he wants to be, which is just focusing on himself, right? And then my next pick, You know, why not? I don't need. I feel I have enough power here. I have a god. I'm gonna go with a not a Nightwing S pick, but I guess yeah, I already said it. Spider-Man. I was gonna go with Marvel's kind of answer to Nightwing, if you will, but not really since Spider-Man came. No, yeah, Spider-Man was before Nightwing. He wasn't before Robin, but Spider-Man will be. Yeah, because Nightwing was Spider-Man came out in 1963. Nightwing didn't come out until what, early 80s with George Perez during the Judas contract. I don't remember the date, but I do know it was years after. I'm gonna look this up right now just because I want to be accurate, even though I know I'm right. First appear, Nightwing. Oh, interesting. So apparently Nightwing first appeared as it was an alias used by Superman. We're fine. Didn't know Superman used the alias Nightwing. He used the alias Nightwing back in 1963, but Dick Grayson didn't become Nightwing until 1984. We're fine.
True.
So I'm gonna go with Spider-Man. Spider-Man here, yes, we already know. Again, another guy where his intellect is not bad, right? He fits right alongside those guys, but I really want him there. His power scaling is incredible. Another guy who just fits in from a raw power level, but personality wise will slide right on in there. I think we've seen him work with Superman before. We saw it last year in the comics. We've seen it before, right? We've seen him work with Batman. Like and this is just in the inner universe crossovers, but Wolverine, same thing. He kind of fits in with everyone with the exception of maybe Dr. Doom. And Dr. Doom, again, is my wild card, but is more of the amenable of the wild cards there. So you're getting a guy who can bring it on the actual battlefield, can bring it behind the scenes from a scientific level, and will be the voice of levity, the guy lightening up the atmosphere of the room, if you will. Won't rock the boat. If anything, will kind of steady some of the chemistry that could bubble up on this team. So yeah, we're keeping it between we're keeping it between party lines in terms of DC and Marvel, but I like my team so far. Spider-Man's my final pick here, and we throw it back up.
Very, very good choices. Also, I think your team would definitely win the popularity vote with Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, and Wolverine. Arguably the 4 most popular superheroes of all time.
They work. Yeah. It just felt to me that way, honestly.
Yes. So there was one aspect of this draft that kind of frustrated me a little bit, and that's the fact that we are stuck at just 7 people. So I'm pulling a character from my favorite comic book storyline I've ever read, from The Exiles. I am picking Mimic. And Mimic, particularly this Mimic, has the power to hold 5 different superpowers from other superpowered people at one time. He only has half their strength in that power, but he is basically capable of having 5 different superheroes in one. On top of it, this Mimic was the leader of the X-Men in his world and was functionally like a cross between Cyclops and Captain America in his existence before he was pulled out of time and reality to work as an exile. So we're talking a fantastic leader, combatant, and somebody who can bring any 5 superpowers that we want on my team at any one time.
Okay.
That's pretty breaking, yeah.
I dig this pick. I know you're a big Mimic head, so I respect this. Now I do love that you made this pick right before I made mine, because I had a tandem in mind. So I was thinking a little power versatility would be nice here. And though it's not as clean as Mimic, Rogue's ability to steal someone else's powers sure come in handy. The problem is that obviously takes a lot of energy and power away from people, and it makes it really difficult for them to fight in the interim. But what if you had a Norse god that could supply people with power and energy, like Odin. Hmm. This is a tandem I thought of, so I'm glad it fell. I'm going with Rogue. Not only does she have tons of powers, like she has the powers of Captain Marvel, as we know. I believe at one point takes Jean Grey's powers, but we're not gonna have to use that here. Um, I like the versatility. She's a good fighter, good team player. You know, we've got a lot of leaders on this team. I'm looking for role players just like Josh. Um, and with that in mind, I wanted to go for an extremely specific role player. Sometimes you need a little stealth, sometimes you need a little creativity. You also need a good locker room presence sometimes. You know, with all these superheroes, everyone can be very self-serious. It can get a little stale in the room. You know, you need someone to lift the mood a little bit. But you also need someone to do a little imitating now and then. So I'm going with Morph. We all love Morph.
Also on my short list.
occasionally, occasionally a little grating to some, but speaks for itself. It works.
It truly does.
So that'll round out the team for me.
I really like it.
I tried really hard to not get X-Men heavy, so 5 out of 7 being in the X-Men world is a little rough to me, but you know, it works.
It could be worse. It could be worse. I think I'm going to wind up a little over half being X-Men based. So with my last pick, let's see. We've got a leadership covered. We've got like multiple powerhouses from shape shifting and psychic powers and super strength to anything Hal Jordan can conjure up from his imagination and will, to Iceman being able to freeze opponents. He's made ice golems of himself, like giant ice giants that he can control as well as himself, so making him kind of his own army. We have Magic, who can teleport and does magic, fitting name. And then we just got Mimic, who can do 5 different superheroes jobs at one time. So to round it out, I think every team, especially since we only get 1 immortal per team, every team needs somebody who can heal. Because and this is a classic thing in RPGs. Having someone who can heal members of your party is very helpful. So I'm going to go with the GOAT healer, Elixir from X-Men. He can heal like anybody. He's my immortal functionally. On top of it, he has the reverse power as well. He can basically control down to like the molecular level of your biology. He can cure illnesses, and even bring people back from the dead, that sort of thing. On top of it, he can do the opposite. In fact, in Rick Remender's X-Force, he actually was forced to place an inoperable brain tumor in the Vanisher so that he would go along with their mission. And he also has attacked villains in ways where, like, a single touch, they start like being covered in boils, and like he can, put any sort of illness in enemies, can heal himself and his teammates. So I'm going with Elixir for my final spot. And that leaves me with 4 X-Men related characters out of my 7.
Not bad though. Not bad at all. All right. So with my last one, man, it's hard because this is where I'm like, what the heck? Throw a wild card in there. But the problem is, like, a wild card on a team like this already structured the way it is could be interesting. You know what? I'm gonna get a guy. He's not a healer, but he is a healer of sorts. He can also manipulate time. He also would be good in the Avengers Tower, I guess, behind the scenes. Good personality. We're going with the Flash.
Also, speedsters are super OP, Corbin.
Oh, yes.
Like he might be as powerful or more powerful than half your roster.
Oh, I mean, between intangibility, accelerated hearing, of course, like the superhuman speed. But what I mean is, like,
Flash, though.
That's a good one. I think I'm gonna go with Barry.
Boo.
I know. Well, actually, no. Wally
Do
West
whatever feels right for you, man.
Well, I was trying to go with the one.
I'm just a Wally guy. So.
Oh no, I was trying to go with the one from the DCAU. That was Wally West. We're going with Wally West.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I was trying to go with. Yeah. No. The Flash, again, I'm a child of Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, Justice League Unlimited. Michael Rosenbaum is the Flash to me. You know, like. No, actually, all the respect to Ezra Miller, I will never accept that. That wasn't the Flash for me. Michael Rosenbaum is the Flash, and Wally West was that iteration, so we have to go Wally West. He definitely comes in as an OP member. I mean, this whole team is, but he's more like Spider-Man in the sense that he's willing to blend his otherworldly abilities to fit the team a little bit better than someone else will. He will defer so Batman, Superman could take the lead, right? Dr. Doom could get his shine in his own way. But Wally is content, or Flash in general is content to kind of not sit in the sidelines, but be an ancillary character, right? And then when it's time for him to, like, fuck shit up, he can do that. Same thing with Spider-Man. We've seen Spider-Man do it. He's a guy who has helmed, again, stepping outside of the draft here, helmed his own movies very well, but slides right in with the Avengers. Nothing wrong, right? So that's the kind of characters I wanted on this team. So yes, I do have the popularity strike as well, but I also have a team that I like. I mean, for the value of where they were, I'm surprised. I wanted to Captain America, but honestly, again, I do believe there's a team where you have too many leaders. I hate to, I'm gonna use a basketball term. Charlie and Josh will get this, but we don't need the 2017 Chicago Bulls. 3 alphas of Rajon Rondo, Dwayne Wade. I'm just kidding. So we want to have a squad where we have some leaders, we have a wild card, we have a lot of strong personalities, but for the most part, Batman and Superman are going in one direction. Dr. Doom can go in a similar path for the greater good. Wolverine does the same thing. Thor can fit as a leader, be a superpowered ancillary character. Spider-Man, the Flash slot right in. So that is the squad for me. But let's hear Charlie and Josh. How would you kind of sum up your team?
Yeah, I think I was like, I don't know, the more I thought about it, I was like, I had a bunch of like deep cuts I put down, where I was like, oh, maybe someone like Polaris would be interesting. If I didn't get X, I was really thinking about Juggernaut as my villain, because I feel like the movies that came out kind of did him a disservice, because he's like, they just portray him as like a big guy who runs through walls.
I'm the Juggernaut. But
yeah, exactly. Like,
no nuance there at all. No.
All his stuff with like I don't know. He basically just functions as a god in a lot of the comics. So like, he was an interesting one. I thought of
from like an RPG standpoint, a perfect tank.
Yes, yeah, like put him on the front lines. But I don't know, it was interesting to just think through, like, Josh really got me thinking about like the personality aspects of it, of not just like, well, let's just put 7 of them together and whatever happens. I wanted to think more of like, okay, how do I get them to blend? Like, do they have some sort of synergy going? I like that the core of mine is Professor X and Magneto just as an elite duo, but also Rogue, like longtime, and Morph, both longtime X-Men. Cable, who they have like some experience with, and I think wouldn't be much of a problem. I think the one pick I had to think maybe a little bit more about was like, if I want Professor X leading the charge, like, is Odin a literal god, and like the king of Asgard gonna be like, yeah, I'll get in line. I'll be a good little god under Professor X, but um yeah, it was so fun to think about them back and forth because like there's just so many different ways you can go for it. And Josh, I like that you were building yours as like a party, like in an RPG game. That's just like a fun way of looking at it. It's like, well, we need the healer and we need a little bit of magic, but like got to be strong as well. And Corbin, you anchoring your team to like arguably the best leadership duo in all of comics was just a great tone setter for that. So
Appreciate that.
I
Again,
love that.
Corbin, I would also say that like you probably have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 6 characters who are probably within the top like 15, 20 comic book characters in history if like the fans voted. And then like
true.
your villain is arguably the best villain in comics. So like it was funny because Corbin was like nervous a little bit before this because like Corbin tends to wing his fantasy drafts. But like you crushed it, man. And then Charlie, I love obviously the X-Men stuff. I love pairing Professor X and Magneto because yes, there's been friction, but like let's be honest, like those two love each other. Whether you believe that's romantic love or just like deep friendship, like those two are deeply connected. So I think you have a rock solid core there. And then like Omni-Man is probably the best if you want like a Superman type that will really fuck shit up. You can't get better than Omni-Man because he's Superman without the like I have to hold back. Like Omni-Man will just punch right through you or like chop you in half. And then like kudos with going Odin. I thought you might be leaning Loki the way you were saying, but Odin was a great pick. And then obviously as an X-Men fan and particularly a Age of Apocalypse fan, getting Rogue and Morph, like loved it.
Well done. Good little bit of business there.
Loki was one I thought of too, but I was just like, there's too much volatility there. Like I can't have the wild card on the team, I think about the Corbin, you're gonna hate this, but like the famous tweet that's gone around where it's like the quote like you got to just let Russ be Russ. I'm like, no, you can't just let Loki be Loki. Like you can't
let him cook.
Literally a
no, you can't let him cook.
I had the same thought about Scarlet Witch. Like immensely powerful. She's been a villain. She's been a hero. But she's also like super unstable. And like, do I want to introduce that much like instability into a team? Which I am not some of my mentors. I am not Trader Bob Whitsitt. I'm not trying to put together a team as volatile as like the Jailblazers, as talented as they were. So it's like, I get that's why I went with like Magic for my Magic person, and I took Hal Jordan. I thought like Hal Jordan, Scarlet Witch are probably the two most impactful like ones you could qualify as villains who have also like explicitly been heroes too. Like Doom as dalliances of good. And it's usually still self-serving, but like I think that's a valid pick, Corbin. But like I was like, who are like legitimate heroes who've also done very horrible shit and definitely qualify as villains and are just mega powerhouses? And like Hal Jordan, despite him doing the parallax stuff, is still way more stable than Wanda. So,
Yeah, that was one I was tempted like a few times to go Scarlet
yeah.
Witch, like you said, and it was just one of those things where it's like she's just too much of a wild card. And yes, like she has worked before, on the Avengers and on other teams in general, the X-Men, whatever. But then like I couldn't get out of my head No More Mutants, like
Not just
like,
that, she literally did. She was the reason the Avengers disassembled
oh yeah,
storyline happened. Like, she's the reason Vision, Jack of Hearts, and Hawkeye all died.
yep. Oh,
So,
100%. No, I'm just saying that for me was like the biggest one, but no, you said it exactly.
I
So yeah.
I have a question I want to throw at you guys while we're discussing, the post-mortem of these teams.
Mm-hmm.
Corbin, I'll ask you first. Who is your favorite character, like villain or otherwise, that we left out? And who is the most powerful that we left out? Like
That's a good one.
pure power. We're not worried about volatile or whatever. Just hit me with the raw power and your favorite that we didn't draft.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay. Sentry. The Sentry would have been one I thought about. The Spectre was
very
another I thought about.
volatile. Also,
And that's why I didn't
I
pick
also
either.
considered Sentry, but I was like, that's the same thing as Scarlet Witch.
Yep, the Sentry and the Spectre were on equal sides for me. That I was like, oh, that's game over. But the problem is, who is that game over for exactly? My team or everyone, right? So those are the two that popped in my head immediately. Obviously Captain America, not up to that level, but he was another one that I was like, all right, cool. Iron Man, once I picked Batman, kind of took Iron Man off the board for me.
Only 1 billionaire per team.
Exactly. That has no superpowers, but leadership, right? And frankly, Batman's a better leader than Iron Man, which says a lot about both of them. But anyways, so yeah, those are the two for me. I mean, I guess there's obviously a bit more. I mean, nobody was touching Darkseid, Doomsday, Mr. Mxyzptlk, these destructive forces all unto themselves. But when you look at the power of the Spectre, when you look at the power of the Sentry, and no one was thinking about Null, which is obviously, so those were the two that immediately come to mind. I'm sure there's more, but that's just off the top of the head that I could think of. I'm like, yeah, no one's touching those,
Yeah.
Lex Luthor. Again, more popular characters, but also ones that do bring some semblance of like the Hulk. Okay, now I'm thinking more guys, like guys who can bring some more, raw power, raw strength, raw mental ability. But then again, when you're building a team, and it seemed like you both had teams in mind that you were kind of looking to structure, it was okay, like, how do you want this to go? Whereas for me, and that's kind of why I think I got some of the more popular characters, I came to this more reactive. I had like, and Josh and me talked about this before we went along, I had like, okay, get a heavy hitter, get a tactical guy, get a speedster, and then there's a wild card and the loose cannon. So you kind of have these archetypes, but I didn't have anyone to fill them. It was really just kind of letting the board kind of fall to me in that way. And it just so happened y'all were so prepared that I was able to get the more general, like, yeah, can't argue with that picks. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Any other names, Josh and Charlie? Because that was a great question,
Okay.
Charlie.
Well, like the most powerful one that I think we all skipped over is Jean Grey. Like, I think she's on the level of all those people. I think she could probably kill most of those people that you mentioned, Corbin.
Yeah.
If she went full Phoenix. And then like a favorite of mine. There are two favorites of mine. That one I wasn't really expecting to get picked anyway, and one I was like surprised didn't get picked. The one I didn't expect to get picked, but whom I love, is Blink from Age of Apocalypse and the Exiles. She's my favorite non-Nightcrawler teleporter. But also, magic can do magic stuff too. And then Storm. We didn't bring up Storm, and Storm's like
Aurora.
a goddess who, much like Iceman, could end the world with her powers. She also basically terraformed Mars as part of the Krakoa era. So, like, not only extremely powerful, but, a pretty popular character and one I was expecting to go off the board. What about you, Charlie?
I was gonna say Jean Grey's like she's definitely up there. One that I think that I'd considered for an immortal, but you know, this is sort of the this would be the Luke Kennard of my team, and sorry for those who do not get the reference. That is the best percentage 3-point shooter in the National Basketball Association, who just refuses to shoot, and it drives me crazy. Um, the Luke Kennard of my team would have been Franklin Richards, who
Yep. Mm-hmm.
has every power in the book. He can
Basically,
manipulate reality. He's completely immortal. He has like all of the telekinetic powers of his mother. He can create universes at will. There's also the one storyline where he literally becomes Galactus, like consumes worlds.
Just destroyer.
But in most time, from what I know, like most timelines, he uses his powers once a year because he's afraid of it. And I can't have someone who's hesitant around. So, he was the most powerful. He's under consideration, but I had to leave him off the board. We need real shooters out here. I think my favorite we left off, just kind of from like a narrative perspective, and he's way off the board when it comes to like total powers, because all due respect, throwing some explosive playing cards isn't exactly the biggest trick in the book, but I love Gambit, man. Like the whole storyline with like him and like the Thieves Guild growing up, and like the way he like starts off, he kind of like falls into this life and like is trying to like separate himself from it, but like the past is always coming back to bite him. But I think he's also one of like the noblest of the X-Men in terms of like, he'd lay down his life for anybody. He would do whatever needed to be done. He's also always right there when it comes to like, I think is it X Factor that he's a part of in I forget what
he was part of X Factor for a while.
I feel like he's been on all of them, at some point.
Polaris, I think.
I was gonna say, has he not been on like every X
iteration, X Force?
Yeah.
X Factor?
Technically, he was never on X.
He wasn't on X Factor.
He was on the Externals, which was the replacement for X Force during the Age of Apocalypse.
See, look, dude, this is why there you go.
Golly,
Josh.
That's a team player right there. Maybe if I had gone back, I would have had him picked because, like, the guy just comes ready to play. So,
yeah.
Not only personal favorite of mine, but maybe an oversight on my part, not getting him in there. And he is canonical. We do not acknowledge Channing Tatum Gambit in this house.
I'm about to make a name for myself. Yeah.
That did not happen.
We're gonna see it again in December. So nice we've seen that thing twice.
God.
No, that's fair. No, I like it. I think that we have some really fun teams. I love the way we kind of went in with different strategies, but have a nice mix. And the funny thing now, we've seen the proof of concept. We know this works. Now we can start building, if we were just doing supervillain teams, or if we were just going with like, okay, the perfect Justice League lineup or whatever. Like the possibilities kind of spill out of this.
The perfect, like all supernatural lineup.
There you go. Yeah, because I think y'all came with it. Y'all had the facts. We had the stats, sort of. We had the info. No, this is fun. I really do appreciate both you, Josh, and you, Charlie, for coming on. Charlie, don't be a stranger on this on this side of the channel. We got to get you on here more. Josh, you already found a place, so we appreciate that. But no, any last thoughts, I guess, closing this out, any future ideas, any final thoughts, if you will, before we close the book on this issue of All About Comics?
Oh, It's a lot of fun. I'm glad you guys had me. We've spent so many hours talking comics and superheroes together that it was bound to happen. So I'm glad we did it. And maybe we'll have some future versions to do of this.
Oh yeah.
I'll just leave with what I said previously on this podcast, which is read more comics. And read comics that feel a little bit out of your comfort zone, whether that be outside of the big two, Marvel and DC, whether that be a different kind of genre of comic, like maybe check out a horror comic or a sci-fi comic. And then if you are hard capped for cash and can't just like go out and kind of willy-nilly buy a bunch of comics, remember there are resources like Hoopla, where if you have a library card, you can access Hoopla, and they have so many comic books on there, including fairly recent comics and a lot of old classic comics as well. So read more comics, expand your repertoire, and then maybe one day you can join us on another fantasy comic book cast draft.
Couldn't said it better myself. Thank you, Josh. Put it in a nutshell there perfectly. Those who are listening, we appreciate that. Charlie, thank you for your time. Josh, thank you for your time. That's literally it. Read more comics, engage, discuss, support the artists and the authors and those who make this happen. We see the big movies very often. The people who kind of make these stories, the issue by issue, the Wednesday Warriors, kind of get lost in the sauce, so to speak. So find a way to do that. Josh gave some very good ways of doing that for free. If you want to go to the tremendous backlog of amazing comics from both big two, Marvel has Marvel Unlimited. In fact, right now you can get it for $1. So I would hop on that through the end of the month. There's so many comics available through that. I think it's like 35,000. I forget. There's so many. DC Universe Infinite, under $13. Again, you get backlog to all of their history, but also full complete graphic novels. So do that as well. And the Global Comics is kind of a mix of everything. You get your Marvel, you get your DC, but you get your Independence, your IDW, your Dynamite, your Dark Horse, your friend up the hall who made his own comic and wanted to put it somewhere. All of that is up there. So definitely make sure to check that out. And you can access most of their content there's a group of it for free, and then the rest of it for like $6.99 a month, which also is not bad. So definitely check Hoopla. That's the first and foremost. There's other options available. Other than that, y'all, we appreciate y'all. Thank you again, Charlie, Josh, myself. We're all frosty. Y'all stay frosty. And as Josh said so eloquently, keep reading those comics. Talk to you next time.